Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Big Shark Gaming. Today me and Jay are going to be doing our review, finally, for Elden Ring. We've both beaten the game now. Yeah. So, I'm going to kick it off by reading our... What?
The raindrops are huge.
Yeah, it poured here before, too. But we're going to start it off by reading the review from Ashton, one of our subscribers who played a Fromsoft game for the first time. And I'm going to use this as a pivot point because I don't agree with everything he says. So we're going to break it down in points. His first thing, and I don't know why he told me this. He said, I've been playing Elden Ring for over 80 hours. Okay?
That's fine with Andy, Marge.
How long, Jay, how long have you done?
160, I think.
I'm at 92. Okay, so you've played just about as much as me and Ashton together. But you also did all the side quests and everything like that as well. I unfortunately missed some stuff because my game bugged. But you didn't do Varys side quests, which is something that I did that you didn't. So I'm pretty sure we could cover everything.
A lot of Vias too.
Yes. All right. So he gave it a 9.5 out of 10. And his reason was the excitement you get from killing your first boss or a boss that has been destroying you. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, valid point. Next, he says, also, you can run any build you want in Elden Ring without any punishment. I don't agree with that at all. And that's one of the points that we're going to get to in here as well. But the reason why I say I don't believe that at all is because I played Elden Ring initially, and I say initially because I was forced to change just to be able to compete as a pure melee build. Jay, you started off as a spellcaster, so you greatly changed your class as well. I would say that I am now Faith Dex, even though post-game now I'm level 170 and I've started to level up my strength, just so I can start using other weapons as well, such as the Malekith sword. What's that, Jay?
Faith 13, and the only reason why I changed it is because Faith spells are so much cooler than intelligence spells.
I agree. I dabbled in a little bit of intelligence spells, and granted they keep getting buffed, but I don't know. I like the Faith spells a little bit more, and I know you like your.
Intelligence spells, you can shoot a blue thing, or you can shoot a blue thing, or you can slash with a blue sword, or you can slash with a blue hammer, or you can shoot a blue bow, and it's like. Oh, cool. Blue things.
Yeah.
Faith spells are all over the place. You can use all wonderful.
Well, you do get the gravity stuff. You do get the slings and stuff like that as well. But yeah, I feel like the incantations you do get a little bit more variety. You get lightning. You get status stuff. You get the dragon stuff. I do feel Faith is a lot more diverse. And I believe that's why a lot of players are actually running some sort of Faith build on their stuff. I do not agree that you do not get punished. Because if you wanted to run a dual heavy blade sword, you're going to be heavy, and you're going to get punished because you're going to have those heavy rolls.
Unless you get really good at Drew Freeman and his axe.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think to say there is no punishment for your builds is a little bit out there. I think that there's a good job
making. I will say this though, the game is very lenient and generous, and you can get away with a lot of weird stuff.
I agree. That's actually where I was just getting at. The game does do a good job making it so you could have diverse builds, and you could change and mix and match here and there. There's definitely a meta, but you can. Yeah, you could definitely get away with doing a build that you want to, or in Ashton's case, a build that he found on the web, Rivers of Blood. But I don't think that it is without punishment. You could beat the game with any build as long as you're good enough at the game. But
people can be naked with bare fists.
If it's your first time or second time playing a Fromsoft game, there is no shot. And I feel like if it's your first Fromsoft game, because Elden Ring did bring in a lot of first-time players, then I feel that there is a level of conformity to finding a build that is the least punishing, i.e., a faith build or a blood dex build, because we've seen all the memes about like blood builds and how they're overpowered, and blood frost is overpowered.
I mean, to be fair, blood builds were very good. Because most bosses are not immune to it.
Well, yeah.
When it's easy to do blood and ice simultaneously, it's like it really kind of rewards you for taking that route.
Yeah. I think that there is, a little bit of punishment when it comes to certain classes, and it's so easy to go and use like classes that are like, oh, this class is overpowered, this class is this and that, and the game doesn't do a good enough job of making everything an even balanced playing field.
I don't think it has to.
I don't think it has to either. But I do think that to say it's without punishment is definitely few and far between the truth.
You know, Ash only picked the best class that have no punishments. That's why he's
yeah. Yeah. And he said the story is incredible. The cool cutscenes from the main bosses. That's his words. I'm reading it as he wrote it. So I'm guessing he's saying the story is incredible. I would like to ask Ashton what this game is about, because that's something that I've always found an issue with in the like FromSoft Dark Soulsborne games.
The story is never the forefront.
Yeah, the story is never the forefront. This game is obviously, there was a god, and there was the Elden Ring, and then he fractured it and gave all these shard bearers power, and then there was, a power struggle, and someone is coming to usurp them, and that's you, the Maidenless Tarnished. And you're coming to try and put the ring back together and become the new Elden Lord.
I have a maiden. You have a maiden. You want to hear who's maidenless is Ashton.
Yeah. So, yes, I do agree that the story is good, but it's not up front, and that's never going to be the case. This series has never been about the forefront story. It's always been about reading the descriptions and finding the lore, but I doubt Ashton did that, so the reason that he has that in his... actually, no, Ashton did do a little bit of like lore diving. He actually did it before he even beat the game, and he watched endings before he beat the game, so his point is...
Ashton watched it before we started the game.
Ashton watched endings before this game even came out. But I will agree that the cutscenes are cool. I did a really good job doing cutscenes. Yeah, I definitely think that the cutscenes were well choreographed. I can't deny that. Then he said, FromSoft did an amazing job for the first time doing an open world game. I feel like if I didn't tell Ashton that this was their first open world game, he wouldn't have known that. But he gave it a 9.5 out of 10. So, yes, I agree. For the first time that they did an open world game, they did a fantastic job. But
I agree.
I say this very loosely, because the previous games were already pretty wide. They weren't open, but they were wide. There were several different routes that
let you go in a lot of different directions from the word start.
So did Souls 3. The only one that didn't really was Souls 2 and Bloodborne. Sekiro even gives you like a level of like, you can do this or you could do that. And I would say that it's open world-ish. It's still a map. I wouldn't necessarily say that this is a full open world experience, considering the fact that there is areas where you will find a cutscene to load somewhere. It's not like I could have got to Farum Azula at any point into the game, which means that it's not a true open world experience.
Well, you're never just gonna pop someone in a completely open world and tell them to just go. That's what's the word? Choice overload.
Yeah, that's kind of where I got lost in like games like Genshin Impact, where it's like, hey, here you are, figure it out, and I do think that the map is huge. It does, if you wanted to ride from the tip of Caelid all the way up to the Halig tree, it would take a considerable amount of time. Obviously, going from somewhere like Limgrave to Raya Lucaria only takes like 3 minutes, but like, to go all the way from
assuming you don't get stopped by a troll.
yeah, exactly, or a bear. But so for me, I know the hype around Elden Ring. I know the hype around like it being a perfect game and this, and that, and getting a perfect score here and there and everywhere. I can't call this a perfect game, and I love this game. Don't get me wrong. I know me starting to say I can't call this a perfect game is going to get a little bit of a whiplash. But
I didn't even give it a 9.
I agree. I also didn't give it a 9. Do you want to talk first about things we liked and things we didn't like, or do you want to give the ratings first and then talk about?
I'm going to give my rating first. I gave it an 8 and a 9.
Okay.
Not quite a 9. Not quite a 9, but it's still very, 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 very good.
Man, I feel bad now. I gave it an 8.4.
Okay, that's fine.
My biggest thing is aesthetically, the game is very beautiful.
Yes.
In terms of difficulty scaling, it does a fine job of letting you know this is an area that I shouldn't be at.
Or try it anyway, forehead.
Yeah. Music direction.
That death bird.
Yeah, I think the music direction was fantastic. I think that the actual like cutscene choreography, as I said already, was great. There's a few shortcomings that I will address in this as well. Jay, how many times did you use crafting throughout your adventure?
Hang on. Say that again? Is that about crafting?
How many times did you use crafting throughout your adventure?
So that's one of the major problems I had with the game, actually.
Yeah, so they introduce.
Crafting brought nothing of note to the table.
It brings nothing of note to the table. Nothing at all. I couldn't think of a time where I sat there and I was just like, oh, I'm going to craft.
Boy, I could really use these pots right now.
Right, and like, I know that there's like that poison build with the mushroom where like you use like the poison and you use the healing thing, and it's like, oh, if you're in a vicinity of poison, you do 20% more damage. I know that exists. So before you start typing and hitting that enter button, I know it exists. But also, I was more bothered by running around and then all of a sudden it come up saying like acquire item or some shit when I'm writing torrent. And then to sit there and spend the moment of time to go crafting, and it's just like I feel like every single time I went to go craft something, it was like, oh, I don't have the item for it, or I don't have like the recipe for it. Like the only thing I could imagine like actually hardcore crafting was the Scarlet Bolses.
Yeah, the Stratosphere stuff.
Because there's two instances.
Poison and rot ones, because the other ones I never really got used for.
Yeah, the Scarlet Rot ones, which I have none of. I can't craft.
Or the maybe the gold and silver bird feet.
Right.
Things.
Yeah, those ones are useful.
But like aside from that,
but Jay, there's two locations where you have to sit there and tiptoe through rot, and a third where like you might have to tiptoe through rot, and like
right.
To not have like the ability to like actively create the boluses, and maybe I missed something, and I'm sure that you could craft it, but like.
Oh, I'm 100% sure you can craft it. You just neither of us got the recipe to it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of surprising.
Yeah. I'm sure there's like a ball bearing that we missed or something that would have given it to us. But I mean, I got all but one, I think.
That's the one.
But yeah, which ball bearings again? You just buy stuff from the store, so unless it's carrying a Nomad's book, then you probably wouldn't get the crafting from there either, to be honest.
I mean, it might have been carrying a Nomad's book. It's possible.
It's possible, yeah. But yeah, so I feel like crafting, it was a nice little addition. It sounded nice on paper, but overall, it was pretty useless. It was.
Maybe you were an archer. I wonder if all the archers got used as being able to make arrows whenever they want to.
Yeah. I mean, you could buy arrows. You could buy unlimited arrows for pretty cheap. You could go over to the First Church of America and just buy like 1,000 arrows. And who's an archer? Talking about class punishment. You can't be an archer.
I've never tried archery in any Fromsoft
Yeah.
game.
So did I? No, I did not. I accidentally clicked my mouse and I thought I might have stopped recording. So with that being said, crafting is a huge missed opportunity. I felt that it was going to be a lot better than it was, and unfortunately, that.
It was very underwhelming.
And another thing that I really didn't like about the game was the constant reuse of enemy designs.
I wasn't bothered by that too much.
I took a pretty big exception to that. And the reason being, I don't remember a From Software game where I felt like I saw the same enemies every single where I went. I appreciate the level of monsters that there are in this game because there is a nice little diverse amount of monsters. And like for like bosses like Deathbird, you don't expect only one to exist. It's just a field enemy, or like Pumpkinhead or anything like that. But when I'm walking around a snowy area and I'm seeing T-Rex dogs, and I go over to the Blood Desert and I see T-Rex dogs, it's like, okay, this doesn't seem right. So I feel like there was a very heavy reuse of skins that I haven't seen before in a like a Soulsborne type of game, and the game wasn't rushed, so I feel like they could have.
Just because, like, maybe they overestimated how like big the world was or something.
I mean, so the way that this game came about was that George R. R. Martin wrote Miyazaki and co. a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and then they played it, and that was the story for Elden Ring, their actual playthrough of that, or so the rumor goes. But yeah, so I thought that like one thing that Elden Ring did really well though was that like they added in like these like nice little Easter eggs too, like Streets of Sage. I thought was great.
I love Streets of Sage.
And then like the little quest with like the jellyfish sisters was cute. Like, and then like there was a reference to Frozen. It's like they made a lot of references to this game. And there's a bunch of references to Berserk as well, which is a really great anime. If you haven't,
It's kind of just FromSoft.
Yeah, FromSoft has always made like references to Berserk. Even like the Godskin Apostles themselves are like referenced to Berserk.
I thought there was very Doughboy and also the Michelin Man.
maybe both.
Maybe.
But I won't blame Elden Ring for the community, so I won't like divvy points away from that. Scooby has something to say though.
What's my Scooby?
So what Scooby is saying is that he felt like those T-Rex dogs weren't nearly as cute as him.
I agree, Scooby.
So, yeah, so I think overall, I give it an 8.4 because mostly progressive type stuff too, where it's like, okay, this is the first open world game. I feel like the monsters inside like the Black Knife catacombs or catacombs in general should maybe have been like level scaled. Because, like, if you miss something and you go back and you just look at the boss and they die, that's a problem to me. And, like, then you go, oh, well, that's kind of your own fault because you should have explored. You should have explored more. Dude, I explored almost every nook and cranny of this game that I was able to, besides the fact that my game glitched. And I missed the entire Ronnie storyline because of it. But, like, I went back the other day to go to the Black Knife Catacomb just to see what was there, and like I looked at the boss and like sneezed on him and he was dead. And I get like maybe that's errant on my behalf going into there at level 165. But I feel like there should have been something in a way of like these areas are like you walk in and there's a field there already. Like there's already a blue door there if you're on torrent, and don't get me started on torrent. But if you have to go through a force field that like triggers the catacombs or stuff like that, or like the tunnel sites, why not make it so it reads your level and it scales the things inside based upon your level? I feel like that would have been way better. And then Torrent. Jeez.
Talk about Torrent.
What do you got about Torrent?
He lets you go places faster. That's really it.
Oh my god. I love and hate Torrent so much.
I also love and hate Torrent.
He lets you go places faster, but fuck's sake. It's almost impossible to like maneuver on Torrent.
I didn't have that much of a problem with it, but I also use binoculars.
No, I don't mean like maneuver on it. Like say like you're going and you're trying to raid one of those like cartels. And you're running, and you go past somebody, and you swipe, and you miss your swipe. God almighty, it takes like 30 seconds to turn around, and like... Yeah, it's like, Jesus Christ, man. And like, the iframes are nice when you jump off of him, if they work properly.
I mean, there have been so many times where Torrent's gotten people killed from, like, when they run off a cliff.
Yep.
That, like, there's, like, a quirk with his jumps.
I also don't understand that. Don't get me started on that. I was very, very upset one day because I jumped what looked like just a regular fall, and I am sure if it wasn't triggered for that map point to me to fall and die there, I wouldn't have died.
You're not the only person who's had that problem either.
Yeah, so it's like, oh man, it's like, oh, that looks like it's like a 15-foot drop. I could definitely survive that. Oh! It's like, and Torrent, you could double jump. Why can't you just jump right before you hit the ground and not take any fall damage?
I don't know. We've all tried that, didn't we?
Yeah, we've all like jumped and then right before we hit the ground, jumped again. So it's like, oh, I'm only falling 6. Ah! I will say that like the teleportal map things were pretty cool. They were a good way of getting around and unlocking areas. I loved the trap chest. I miss mimics.
Yeah, there was not a single mimic, and I tapped every chest.
I really miss mimics. I feel like that's a missed opportunity to scare some people, especially first-time gamers. I feel like they took them out because, like, again, there's a lot of first-timers. But I mean, I played Dark Souls and Demon Souls for the first time, and there was mimics there, and there were these tall, naked string men.
Every game has its first-timers.
Right, it's like
Dark Souls had a lot of first-timers. You want to know why?
Dragon Quest has first-timers. And they had several types of mimics. They had a pot. They had a well.
They had a slot machine.
It's like, why are there no mimics in this game? There's trust that like hit you with chloroform and take you to somewhere, and you wake up in a different place, potentially someone's bed, and it's like, there's no mimics.
This is just the hits you with chloroform, and you wake up in like a mine halfway across the world.
Right? It's like, who brought me there?
The millipede, the shrimp.
The shrimp. Yeah, those pests. God, the worst enemy in the game. I hate the pests more than I hate the birds, and everybody hates the birds.
The birds aren't so bad if you have a gravity spell. But...
Yeah, the pests just are just like,
My least favorite enemy were those grafted spider thingies.
Oh, yeah, I don't like those either. Those are the scions.
Well, whatever they're called,
Yeah.
they can go scion on a hill somewhere.
Alright, well, so I give it an 8.4, you give it an 8.9. I'm not going to count Ashes in for the average, and Kelly's not here to give a score. Even though Kelly did not like how bright and green this game was. That was her biggest like gripe about it. She was so used to like the Dark Souls aesthetic that she was like, ugh, God, it's not morbid enough. Which is
I feel like he did tone it down significantly, actually. I think that is a very real gripe someone might have.
Yeah. I mean, there's only one spot that's like super like morbid, and it's that spot where there's like the bunch of like abductor virgins that you only see for like 10 seconds because you have to run through to climb up the ladder, and it's like, oh, there's people hanging, and there's also people on stakes, and there's these giant robot ladies like stuffing them into her chest.
Joe, they're Iron Maidens.
Giant robot ladies. They're called abductor virgins. I also think that this game has way too many rune acquiring glitches, and I don't think that From Software even cares.
I don't think I did any.
There's so many now where it's like, oh, if you double jump with Torrent here while swinging your sword, you'll fall into an endless abyss and you'll just get souls forever. Until you decide you want to travel. It's like, oh, you could get 10 million souls in 30 seconds. It's like, come on.
Isn't that how that guy had 1 million souls when he invaded you?
I think that he just probably grinded out at the Palace Overlook. But
Loser.
so it's 8.4 plus 8.9. It's 17.3, which means our average score would be a 9.65. I mean, 8.65.
Okay.
8.65. 8.7, we'll call it. We'll round up. Yeah, 8.7 is definitely solid. I definitely love Elden Ring. I'm still actively playing Elden Ring. I'm about to start New Game Plus as well. But I'm going to switch gears to Horizon now.
I'm not going to lie. After playing 160 hours of Elden Ring, I'm not tired of it. So there's that.
Yeah. It's still one of those games where you load up and like, wow, this game is really beautiful. But, man, it almost gives you, it's very, very close to giving you, like, MMORPG vibes, right?
What do you mean?
Like, I feel like I could load an Elden Ring and the world's big enough and vast enough. I wouldn't say fully open world, but, like, big enough and vast enough where it could definitely be, like, hey, man, I'm going to go to Bird Island. Yeah, anyone got, like, an archer where he could, like, run around and scatter for me?
Only OG fans remember.
Yeah. If you get that joke, please comment, because I don't think anyone's gonna get that joke. I guess it's not a joke; it's a reference more so. But it's a big shark Easter egg, is what it is. Yeah. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let me know your reasons. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of the things that we said, and please be respectable about it. Like, don't be a twat, because I will not read and I will not comment back. But all right.
Yeah, if you're a twat.
If you're specifically a twat. And if you start your message off with, I'm not being a twat, but I will read it. I promise. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. If you loved it, make sure to subscribe.
Wait.
Okay.
Wait. There's something else we gotta talk about.
What?
What's your opinion on the Summon Ashes?
I think that they're a great addition. Oh, yeah, we forgot about Summon Ashes. I think they're a great addition for people who don't necessarily have anybody who can play with. Or would trust anyone to play with. You know what I mean? Like, I think someone like Ashton, who is younger, who his parents probably don't want him just going around and meeting random people on Dark Souls to beat Millennia. It's like, oh, I'm going to go meet this 45-year-old naked dude in his dad's basement to fight this naked woman. That's yeah, I'm sure my parents would want that. But yeah, so I think they're a nice little touch. They definitely changed like the aesthetics of the game. My dogs broke my fight with Renala though, so they're not without issue.
Your dogs broke your fight with Renala, and that caused a crazy ripple effect through the rest of the game.
It really did. You know, it was like after that. That's when all the weird. That's when all the weird things started happening. That's when like my account got somehow into hard mode, which, by the way, Incognitus and Hamburger from the Wuda server both joined my game, and they both said that my game does not make sense. When we fought Radagon with Incognitus and Hamburger, we lost the first time, and Radagon did something that like Borger, who's played the game several times. He was like, I've never seen him do that before. And I was like, yes, this is my game. My game is harder for some reason. I don't know why. And
when we fought Horlu Warrior, he was doing stuff that you said he never did before either.
I never seen him stomp, and then I definitely never saw him stomp 7 times in a row. And like we even got in like that weird loop with like we got into that weird loop with Radagon as well, where he was just stomping. And like, I don't know. I felt like the one time when we fought the Elden Beast and it just got stuck.
Yeah.
I don't know. My game is weird, so I don't know. I'm excited for New Game Plus though. I'm probably gonna get to level 200 before I move on to New Game Plus, but I'm definitely gonna go to New Game Plus. I'm definitely gonna fix up some of the holes that I missed.
I'm probably gonna do New Game Plus a little bit too, which is like, very interesting for me to say because I almost never do New Game Plus.
Yeah, I think the only like New Game Plus I've done before, not counting Dark Souls, was Horizon, and that's because you needed it for the platinum.
Womp.
Yeah, but all right. You got anything else?
No, nothing else.
Ask me, is that all?
Is that all?
Yes. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. If you like the video, make sure to leave a like. If you love the video, make sure to subscribe. And as always, I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your busy day to come hang out with some sharks, talking about some game that you've probably already played and you're probably already sick of.
Like and subscribe.
Because this game has been out for almost 4 months already. Yeah.
I know. And what a 4 months it's been.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another thing I wanted to talk about. Playing the game as like while it was actively being adapted and stuff. That was cool.
Yeah, this is your first one, right?
Yeah.
Because we made a deal that I did not hold up my end of the bargain. Kind of did.
Kind of did.
Yeah.
You should still play Aria of Sorrow.
I'll
much better.
I'll play Aria of Sorrow once I learn how to pronounce it.
I mean, if you don't mind, you could try and play Order of Ecclesia because that's the best game in the series.
We'll talk.
That's gonna do that.
We'll talk. Yeah. All right.
We'll talk.
Thank you guys. We'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.